Olive Branch family, I've just returned from Phil Arrington's funeral. Today, as I tried to comfort those who were saying goodbye to our brother Phil, I reminded them that in tragic times we often ask the question, why? Why didn't God heal Phil? Why did God take him at the time he did? We ask that question in any tragedy that happens in our life. Sometimes we should ask the question why, but move on to the question who. Who is going to help us in our time of need? Who has the power to change our life or to change our circumstances? Who are we going to trust? The answer to that question, who, is Jesus. God may never give us the answer to the question why, but He always gives us the answer to the question who. Who's going to give us strength? Who's going to help us? Who do we trust in? The answer is our Lord Jesus Christ. Today, the North American Missions Board's Bible study is about Abraham. In Abraham's life, this was true. He could have asked the question why when God commanded him to go, but he simply stepped out in faith and obeyed. In Genesis chapter 12, God promised Abraham a land, He promised him a nation, and He promised him that through him all the nations of the world would be blessed. Abraham had a choice to make. He could have listened to God and obeyed Him and followed, even though he didn't know the answers to the question of where he was going, what he was going to do when he got there, how long the journey was going to take, and why God was choosing him and not someone else. Abraham didn't have the answers to any of those questions, but he did know who had commanded him and who he was called to follow. So Abraham chose to follow God. He stepped out in faith and was obedient, and God kept His promises to him. It took time, and there were ups and downs. Abraham and Sarah were elderly, well past childbearing age. How was it all going to turn out? Abraham didn't know, and his faith wasn't perfect every step of the way. But Abraham did know in whom to trust, and because of his faith, God credited it to him as righteousness. May we follow Abraham's example and follow God in faith in these difficult times and when any time in our life there is tragedy. I want to read to you today from Psalm 121, verses 1 and 2. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. May these verses and these words bring comfort and hope to you in these uncertain and difficult times.